This video is part of a series of videos intended to give an overview of the forms used by the American Red Cross in our shelter operations. The Shelter Client Sign-In form is a critical record for the operation of every congregate shelter that we open. This form is intended to maintain a current, accurate list of which clients are physically inside the shelter at any given moment. Every shelter has a prepared evacuation plan, which will outline what to do if the building has to be evacuated. The plan will designate a meeting place for all clients and staff and visitors, where the shelter manager will make sure everyone is out of the shelter, which means that the shelter manager has to know who was inside before the emergency. This form, combined with the separate shelter staff sign-in form and shelter visitor sign-in form, has that information. This form is maintained at the registration desk, which everyone must pass on their way into or out of the shelter. Each client is asked to enter their information as they enter or exit. Since the form contains personal information, it should not be left at the registration desk if no staffer is present. It must be stored in a secure manner on location, usually in the shelter logbook. The top row of the form should look very familiar to you. It contains the date this page was started, the identifying number of the disaster response, and the name or location of the shelter. This information is entered by the registration worker assigned to the registration desk when the previous page is full and this one is started. The registration desk in every shelter is located at a choke point, a place everyone must pass to enter any part of the shelter or to leave. As each client passes in either direction, he or she is asked to fill out this form. One family member may enter the information for the whole family, but each line is intended for a single person. Time in. If the client is entering the shelter, the time is recorded. The new or returning column indicates whether or not the client must undergo the intake process or has already done so. Time out. A client leaving the shelter marks the time here. The temporary or final exit information is important. We need to know whether this client will return, which impacts our feeding and dormitory operations, as well as the midnight count of shelter residents. Contact information. It's important that we be able to contact the client with information or to track their whereabouts. This is almost always the client's cell phone number. Notes is the place to record additional information that's relevant. The client's destination, anticipated return, and so on. The Shelter Client Sign-In form is a critical snapshot of the current client population in our shelter.